I got it.
You're not the only one that Mr. Shaver, we're ready to start the meeting. Let's go, Mr. Shaver. We're ready to start the meeting. All right, if everyone has a seat, we'll begin.
Flip off the chair one minute.
Okay, we are still at item 3.
You're still missing Bill Satterfield too, and I told him 3 times, come on.
We are on item 3.
He's
Mayor.
talking.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The 3C is the resolution.
4, yes, sorry.
The consent authorized execution of lease and license agreement. LUB City and County. This is the one I thought we had signed several months ago, but it was kicked back to be tweaked over as far as the language to get out of it, which I thought was, at that point in time, thought was amended on the vote that night. However, it's now fixed and just, we'd like to bring it back.
We didn't vote on it the first time.
But I thought we did, just as long as that was changed back.
No, it was not voted.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. Anyway, it's just passed through. It is fixed. Appreciate the question.
And it's basically the same as the other one from what I read through. I guess Tiny's all gone. The things that Adam, if you remember, saw that night where we were gonna be paying the big expenses and that sort of stuff, and all of that
Yeah.
language I saw was gone. It's the
And
little
now
stuff.
keep in mind
maintenance.
too, that Parks and Rec is now officially, is anybody here? Tammy's here. Parks and Rec is now out of that building. Tammy is too. And so we'll actually absorb the entire building. Am I correct, Steve?
That's
They're
correct.
now, you know, our courts are now using the entire building.
You got a rule of soil conservation?
Not yet. We'll evaluate and see, but,
But I think there's.
I'm just trying to help the mayor out here.
They're not storage above where the
There's
person.
offices up above too.
And it's been available this whole time?
Yeah, been available for 4 months.
Above Parks and Rec, there's an office?
Yes, they're.
Parks and Rec had the whole end.
Is it air conditioned and everything?
Yeah. Got a brand new unit.
So can we move to? You're not gonna charge us rent on that part too?
$1 a foot.
Well,
No, we're already paying rent on that.
without me having to look, there was some math I couldn't quite work out. It said $1 a foot for 8,000 and something, 8,900 some square feet. Then on down there somewhere it said $10,000 a month.
that's good. It's okay.
That was the set fee at $10,000 a month.
But what's the dollar a square foot?
That was for the.
Because it's 10,000 square feet.
But it said 8,900 some square feet.
Now that Parks and Rec, say,
But the 10,000 was for June 2019 and partial occupancy of April and May.
Okay, I just saw, I couldn't make those
now,
numbers.
Susan, I correct, it'll now be 94.79.
That's my understanding.
And that's still all being paid by insurance, right? Have they set a time limit of any kind on it?
They don't, we don't wanna take forever, that's why.
Well, I'm sure, but that's a,
It's gonna be a good parking lot when you
that's
build
been a big
this.
while, that's $10,000 a month, you wouldn't be getting otherwise, so.
Like I said, you know, even when all this is going, if they're not all wrapping up the same, we may end up having court for a few months inside there just to get out of that building.
Absolutely.
Insurance and loan, so.
Yeah,
Well, I would like to know something about the storage upstairs above there too. Is there any way we can do some offset? Because I know that we're paying rent, and the insurance isn't covering the rent
The
on
insurance,
one
Yeah.
we're
storage.
paying, the insurance is paying $1,000 a month plus the utilities for the old bank building for circuit court's current records. The records that came out of the basement are in a facility in Lenore City, and that is $350 a week. Plus.
Who pays that?
The insurance company, plus our $10,000 a month to LUB, so those are regular monthly reoccurring charges that the insurance company have on, and have been for all this time, and eventually they're going to.
what is the county having to pay for?
We're not paying for that.
Well, I thought you
Other than
said
our
we were
insurance
paying.
premiums and
But did we not have to pay the other storage
No, the
facility?
insurance company's paying for all of that. Of course, in the end, our premiums are gonna go up.
Didn't Pat Hunter say at our last meeting, at one of the meetings sometime or another, that we could start getting the stuff out of the Yale building and bringing it down here to the other building, and only have one storage building? Did I not hear that conversation?
I spoke with one of the office holders, and she did not want the records brought from over there to here. I thought bringing them closer so they could get to them faster and inventorying them would be ideal. But I was told, no, we're not gonna bring those records down here, even though they had an empty building down here.
But didn't you say you just got a good report on those records, no asbestos?
No asbestos, so we can move forward. There's,
Why can't we start trying to, go to one building, there's only at least renting.
Here's
building
one
nothing in
issue
it.
is that there's 40 pallets of records in Lenore City, and those records have not been sorted through to throw away what needs to be thrown away. The office holders are going to have to go up there,
Well,
go through those records.
What's holding up that
The
process?
office holders.
Well, okay, then why, somebody needs to tell the office holders, Mr. Harrelson, Mr. Miller, Mr. Campbell, whoever, get up there and go through your stuff so we can throw 90% of it away.
That's
Well,
what's
well,
holding
now,
it.
there was, let me tell you
You've been
now,
there, right?
office holders have some concerns about asbestos
But
coming out
it's
of it.
clean.
Well, we had this conversation about 2 hours ago, and they got a report back, and they reported to me that it is clean. I've not seen the report, but that's what these ladies told me, so we've been hesitant just for safety of our employees going in there and working around asbestos or other, problems with the infected files. I mean, so we're just looking out for the employees.
Report a long time ago that we could
Susan.
enter those records.
Initially, I think we had a startup fund of $5 million in insurance. Is all of this being taken out of that $5 million currently?
Currently, it's being paid out of what's in-house, and I have asked the insurance company, at what point do they want us to send bills to them? Because we also have invoices coming in from the architect and Gallium. Those are building, that's against the building.
So we're talking about two different amounts of money, but.
Right now, it's still coming out of one pot, but somewhere along the way, we'll have to separate it and divide it, and I'll have to get with Ms. Blair on that. But
Steve can't speak for anybody but Steve, but I'm afraid we've got some office holders decide they're not gonna go. I mean, they're just not,
there's some of them that
let's
don't
get them a
go.
zoot suit or something.
we have suits.
Look at it
We
and
have
go
We already
away.
had that done.
I mean, I think Ms. Hunter is
Talked to
reading.
him about that.
But they won't go.
But
Well,
I think she just got the
Let
report
me
today.
say one thing. Up until 10 days ago, I had never heard a concern about asbestos being on the records. That is the first time, and I brought that concern
And that concern
expeditiously.
came from where?
It came from a couple of
An
office
office,
holders.
office holder, okay.
And I brought it to Miss Husky's attention, and she requested immediate, intervention, the asbestos specialist going up there. So she has worked, tirelessly to try to get this process moving. So I can't thank her enough. She has been great. Like I said, the asbestos concern came 10 days ago. She brought Mr. Gilman last week. He tested. Today we have the results. This week we should have something written, but that doesn't stop the process. The office holders need to be cooperative, and most of them have been. And they need to move forward, because once we are given the notice, we have to vote on it, the Public Records Commission, and then we have to give the state 3 months to get back to us. That's why I mentioned 6 months. So the sooner they cooperate and help, the faster this gets done.
What's in the rented building in Loudon that I keep hearing mentioned? Nothing?
They're current records.
Oh, yeah.
Current record.
Got
Yeah.
current record.
Okay, that's the one that was for a time was vacant.
That's
But
right.
now we've got the shelving or something
We've
like
got
that.
shelving in, and got a lot of our files already in place and on the shelving, so we're moving along.
The
with
stuff
process.
at Yale then is just, it's a matter of, it needs to be gone through and determine what can be thrown out.
Right.
And because at some point, $320 a month's gotta stop.
Well,
A week.
let me
A week.
differentiate that in a minute, because I think we're confused a little bit. So all the files we're getting back right now were sent off by Belfour and totally clean,
Clean.
gamma ray, every page cleaned and everything brought back to us now. What we're dealing with up at the other site you're talking about is all the files that came out of the basement.
Right.
Which at one time, we were told there was asbestos in the basement, that's why we were concerned about it. There's also mold spores potentially on some of those files, because they weren't processed like the other files were. They were sent off to another location in Middle Tennessee somewhere, and sat over there for a while.
Freeze dried,
Freeze dried, but I think that's it, I think that's all that was done to them.
Serpro assured me, and I also talked to my family, my personal doctor, and I was told by Serpro that those records have been cleaned to a point that you could use an N95 mask and gloves and go in there and not receive any harm. That I've been saying that for months.
But we do have suits that people aren't even comfortable with that, right?
Yes,
We have
in the
suits,
purchasing
we
office.
have goggles, we have,
But
you know.
But the other thing is if what you're saying is correct, then yes, we can use a mask, we can go through. But if we bring back those files into our office area, then without mask on a daily basis.
I'm
We're
not
not
trying to
asking you to bring them back.
No.
Let me say that we're not
Get
asking
rid
you.
of what we can get rid of.
But then what do we do with the
The
rest?
insurance
We're gonna
company,
clean
take
it,
them
we're gonna
anywhere.
clean it additionally.
Yes.
Instead of-
What's what we gotta keep.
Okay.
You
is
can't
clean up
bring
stuff.
contaminated into a clean
Again, when
environment.
we figure out what we're gonna dispose of, we're gonna dispose of it, and what we need to keep, we're gonna send it off to be clean.
Absolutely.
Correct.
What we're gonna do with it, once we get them sorted out, and what's left is,
No.
yeah, once they've gone through and been discarded with what's left,
We'll clean what's gotta be kept and what can be kept, and then they can go into permanent storage. But right now, we're not doing any of it.
but the ones that they're gonna do don't have, once they're sorted out, don't have to come back to your office. They can be stored somewhere else. They're not needed on a daily.
Right, yeah, they're not active files.
Most of this is older historical stuff, it's my understanding.
Well, some of it's gonna be historical, some of it's gonna be we can't destroy per state law.
This law says you can't destroy a lot of stuff.
That's our biggest concern is when we bring them back to our environment someplace one day in the new courthouse annex, we're gonna make sure all the files are clean, nobody's working around dirty files.
What you wanna keep or have to keep is gonna be cleaned additionally beyond the freeze dry.
And maybe there's nothing at Yale that'll ever go back into their short-term storage.
I don't know.
Well, and here, and that's what I want to clarify with Ms. Husky. We've got to separate them. We've got to go through them, and the ones that we are bringing back, we'll go through the second level of cleaning.
absolutely.
Yeah.
that's right.
But then the ones that we can get rid of, there's no sense cleaning them any
That's
further.
right, throw them in the trash.
So that is something we've all got to get together
I don't
on.
think you can throw them in the trash.
No, we
Well,
have,
some, yeah, Chris can, he take the landfill.
And I'm looking for, I'm Steve and Debbie, you know, if I thought I was at health risk,
They're contaminated.
I have a hard time moving to, so we're at that point now, I think we feel pretty good about going ahead with the
One
process.
thing,
Records Commission has a process that they need to go through to be able to dispose of the ones that need to be disposed of.
one
But it's
thing,
a
young,
huge expense if you try to thoroughly clean all of those things
lot of
that
them are
are there
written
that don't
anyway.
really need to be cleaned, they need to be trashed.
And you got a written
Sure,
report from
sure.
Servpro stating in writing that there is no asbestos on those records.
Harry Gilman did the asbestos report, and I do have it. He's supposed to be sending it to me by now. If it's not in my email now, it will be there.
yeah, that's the asbestos inspector,
Let
he's
me
not
mention-
Serpro.
let me mention too, Commissioner, I mean, we as one department head, we wanna expedite this as quickly as possible, but y'all gotta realize, there's a lot of files up there we need to go through, but we've got day-to-day operations too that we have to continue. We've got criminal court starting in January for the full month of January, so that's gonna be 30 days for sure that we're really not gonna be able to release anybody to go through those files. So y'all need to be patient with us too. You know, we can't get it done next week as much as we'd like to, just
It's
because.
just that this is
the
kind
staffing
of
issue.
a recurring thing we hear month after month after month.
Susan,
And
we
as
just-
long as the insurance is paying, we're not, nobody's out except sooner or later, they're gonna say, guys, somebody's gonna do something.
Susan, would this be a possibility of contracting with Servpro, getting them to come up with at least one person from each of the offices and having Servpro and that worker from the office clean the records, they can then go through, could this expedite the process quicker so we can get out of the
The
building?
insurance company is the one that requested we separate the documents
Okay.
because it is a huge expense to fully clean the documents. And so they were saying there's no need in incurring those costs when it's records that should have been disposed of years ago. So it's a huge expense to the insurance company to pay for full
Well,
restoration
yeah,
at
they're
this
gonna
point.
say that.
But, you know, I feel Steve's pain because I've been enduring this overload of a process since the end of April. I've been enduring it every day, but people don't see that, so.
So would the insurance company pay for additional labor to go with, like David suggested, one of Steve's folks?
The problem with that is though, hiring an outside additional labor, don't know what those records are, don't know if
No,
they're
I'm
supposed to
saying
be
bring
there or not.
someone from each
From
of
his
the offices
office.
up there with them, clean the records. That person from each of the offices would know what would go, what would not. You expedite that process and try to evacuate or have
If
that
they,
building.
there's a spot up there in that room that has been designated for records that need to be disposed of or go through the process for disposal. The office holders, it's just going to create more expense. ServPro really can't assist us at this point. We need to decide what we need to keep and what we need to throw away.
You just need to keep piling and throw away pile.
And yes, and so this pile over
Pretty
here
simple.
is good, and we want to keep it, we want to clean it, and then we call ServPro and say, come and pick this up and take it
See,
back.
under TCA, a throwaway pile has to go through the office holder responsible for those records.
Let me ask, that's the point I want to ask about.
And
Steve, Chip, Mike, whomever's involved, I think that's the three main ones. But, Carrie, all y'all are busy, agree with that, every day you're busy. So if you're gonna have to do this, it would have to be probably in evenings or weekends or on days off or something to that effect, if you were gonna do it. Is there no provision somewhere in this whole process? This is such a special exception to everything, to where some kind of a just inventory of here's what's here. I have 3 boxes of license tag registrations from 1932 to 1956. Carrie, can we throw these away? And Carrie can say, yes, those can be thrown away.
We have a
Can we not do that?
Yes, we have a C-task schedule for each department that states what has to be retained and what can be disposed of. I mean, they've made it as simple
But
as
who has
possible.
to make that
easy
call?
The records custodian,
Court documents and stuff. I would
but the
have-
records
We
custodian
can't
of
get
each
to that through
department
this.
needs to be involved because we also have confidential records now to
Okay.
compound the entire.
But let me
issue.
ask again, with whatever exact wording of the law is, I'm gonna say Pat may know it better than anybody in this room. Can an inventory, a general inventory of what's there, be taken to an office holder and say, this state doesn't require us to keep this, do you have any reason to want to keep this? And they say to your committee, to the Public Records Committee, Commission, no, throw those away, and they can then go through the process and start discarding?
We have that form, we have 2 forms.
Okay.
For forms for keeping and forms for disposing.
You're obviously not going to get all of your office holders there. We know there's a couple that's not coming, ever.
Well,
I don't care how busy they are.
Mr. Campbell, Mr. Miller said that they were going to come last Monday. They gave me a 30-minute notice. That was unacceptable. I said that I would meet them at 1, but in the interim, I spoke with Ms. Husky, and I thought that it would be in the best interest that we test for asbestos first, so we didn't have any safety concerns hanging out there.
By
Yes,
next
you do.
month, you have this solved as the chairman of the committee. You've solved this problem.
Let me tell you.
You solved the
I am
problem.
not a records custodian,
You are the
but I
chairman of
have,
the committee.
I have already
You're letting your
inventoried
constituents down.
half a pallet, you know, so
There's-
if I can do it, they can do it.
There's 40 pallets stacked this high, as wide as a pallet, square as a pallet, 40 pallets of documents.
If you
in
give
one
me
city.
2 days with Chris Parks, there would be 0 pallets
And
there.
I work up there all day
Problem
myself,
solved.
and they're not even my documents, but I spend all day.
You and Chris
there.
Parks can sit in prison together.
These already
There's no criminal.
There's over
penalties against
2,000
it.
But the
boxes,
records commission.
2,000 boxes.
They're not getting paid to go up there and sort through somebody else's.
There's no criminal penalty.
I do not get paid. No, there is.
Listen
There is for destruction of records.
Ms. Hunter, are those records up there, are those the ones that just came out of the basement?
They came out of the basement, and we have old
Those are the
historical.
ones that just came out of the basement?
They came out of the basement, and I read an email there's 40 pallets, but there's, I think, over 2,000 boxes. So, you know, now we may have some boxes that have one record. So,
We'll fix it.
You ain't getting mine.
The problem you run into, you know, I know Lisa and I went up there the other day and looked through some stuff, and she got into one box, and there were like documents from 3 or 4 different departments in
And
one
that's
box.
rare.
And there's gonna be-
That's rare, but there's
So,
a
I mean,
few.
I figured when it's all thrown together, you might hit that a lot.
Well,
That's what I'm
here's,
afraid of.
all that aside, there's so much up, these are all full-time government employees that are gonna ask them to work hours above and beyond what their normal workday is to go through all that.
Are you talking about employees or elected officials?
I'm talking about both. The elected officials and the people that work for them have a full-time job in that office. And then, from what I understand, this is a humongous amount of paper that has to be gone through up there. And
There is a place where the office holders are going to have to come together as a family of government, because to say, well, I don't know if that's my documents in that box or if it belongs to this office over here. Carrie McKelvey and I went up there and worked all day, and we opened boxes and said, this belongs to Circuit, we're gonna put it in this pile.
Buddy, you may have to
This
shut
belongs
the government down
trustee,
for a
it's going
day.
in this pile. And so,
Scrap paper
December
day.
23rd.
everybody
December
has to be
23rd.
willing to open
Yeah.
boxes, all the office holders have to be willing to open a box and say, oh, this belongs to Circuit, or this belongs to the trustee, or this belongs to the county judge from 1942.
40 ballots, I just can't imagine the man hours.
And
It
they're
is
willing to
daunting,
open
it
boxes
is
and have
overwhelming.
separated.
So
one thing that I have to say, part of the job description of public government is to manage the records. And we have done a very poor job of managing records. Instead, we would put them in a box and take them to the basement. Well,
That
we
was
have.
well managed till we had a
We
fire. Everything was
have, we have
fine.
100 years of records that have been mismanaged, and now we're
They
having
got all
to
the
take
water.
care of it.
100 years of history.
I walked through the
That's right.
basement,
We
I
have a
walked
lot
through the
of-
basement right after the fire, and me and Van and somebody
Well,
else
several.
walked down
I think we're
there.
supposed to tell that though.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
I think I got his best.
We have old
I have never
records.
seen such a reprehensible effort and responsibility for Loudon County government that would allow records to be put in a place like that in the manner that they were put in.
I agree.
Fred
It was
Cheney has
terrible.
every year for some storage racks.
I mean, it had those big hardbound record books there. I mean, it looked like,
We're talking about books that
it
that
looked
go
like
back
Fred
to
Sanford's yard
1890s.
threw up, you know, I mean, it's terrible. I mean,
We have schools that I didn't even know
all they
about.
had done is just open the door, go in there and.
That's right.
Put them in a box and
there.
Out of
say.
sight, out
take
of
it.
mind.
And now we're asking the officials to go through 40 pallets of
And
paper.
volunteers, Mr. Satterfield.
I just don't, you
We
know,
probably gonna solve this nightmare, Chairman.
I would probably be, it wouldn't bother me if somebody snuck in the dark of night and forklifted all that stuff out of there.
Can't do it.
Could be valuable.
Mr. Chairman, I will say that we will go through our things and as quickly as possible and get it done. It's just a time frame, you know, it's not 2 weeks, I'm just saying, short time frame might not be doable, but we will get it done. as
We're
quick as
putting
we
a lot of
And
pressure
it's
on those
Monday
elected
through
officials.
Friday from 8 to 4.
8 to 4,
That's
that's
the
it.
only time we have access.
I don't
It's
think
Monday
you
through
all bear
Friday,
any
8 to 4,
responsibility.
But that's when the office is
The
open.
facilities close after 4.
But
so
I
you
don't
have
think
to
you
go
have
to
any
work.
responsibility.
You couldn't work at night if you
I
wanted
think
to.
those high
That's
overpaid
fine.
elected
Lisa
officials have
went, but Lisa
responsibility.
had to be on the telephone calling back to her chief deputy for a 2-hour period.
I'm not
because
saying
Lisa's
they
not
need to be
familiar
at their
with
work
what-
hours.
I'm
They can
sorry.
go on their off time.
It's not open.
You asked her a question, she's trying to answer you.
I don't
Let
think
her
I did.
answer.
I didn't ask a
Well,
The
question.
facility is not open off hours. You only have access Monday through Friday.
That is correct, from 8:30.
Would they make
to
exceptions for
4
that,
to
Susan?
4.
Could we get exceptions to that?
I don't know, I could ask, but I doubt it,
Well,
because the facility houses a lot of.
What about you set up a date, the 30th
Same
or
hours
31st,
County's open.
and invite all the elected officials? I'll be there, either one of them.
I would love for them to all come.
And let's see how many we can get, now everybody's schedule won't allow.
I'd go help, I'd help in a heartbeat.
Y'all start traveling board, aren't you, Karen?
Oh, you have to wear a mask.
If they all
Yeah,
vote for
January.
2-day periods, you can knock it out.
I haven't done it
You
today.
can knock it out.
And let's try to see what kind of success we get with it.
If we could have everybody there, that would be helpful, so we can sort them, and then going through the records shouldn't be that big of a deal.
All right, I think, Mr. Mayor, if you'll set that up, December 30th,
31st to the 1.
and then see if we can move forward that way and help some of the officials out, and get some of these records
We'll
out
try to
of the
sort
way.
them, stack them, set them, something or another, just expedite.
I do think that we need to keep in mind that we do have the Loudon facility, the utility room, that we had got some extra storage down there. Or if we make it an office or something, because we're paying for that.
Once you determine what's going to be kept, it will be sent back to Servpro, be fully cleaned, and then you can put them upstairs over the old Rex Park, Parks and Rex place, or wherever, somewhere here. I mean, you can find some place to eliminate that, $360 a week.
Really interested in this.
Sounds good, thank you so much.
Mayor, now we're on to number 4, letter D, boards and committees.
There's no change over the report. Everybody heard it.
Thank you, Mayor.
What was that? I'm going to raise the question, given the letter we have in our hand. And you put that one on hold for now, that's Miss Hurley, the Commissioner's here, I would take that one, I
You
would.
want it? You want to serve on it?
Yeah.
Board,
Here,
got a board,
you'll be back on the Commissioner Bureau board. He just barely got off. And now, I'm just saying that out, we have a letter in our hands that's saying, between now and X date, you have to do this.
we
or
talked about that
or
earlier, he said he might want to be on that, back on that. You want to be back on it?
Does the body feel that way?
I thought that we had somebody on
We
there.
do, but we're talking about whether or not to reappoint her under the circumstances.
Well, I asked one of the workers the other day, how that person was working out, and no, didn't want me.
Really? You want it, Commissioner?
I don't want to search for it, but,
Why wouldn't David Mears want to be on
somebody
something
needs
like
to.
that? He's that kind of guy.
That is a good committee. Those are people that have never been on any committees. And that's what.
Well, you fit right into that
I've
subject.
got time for that.
Tinker will do it.
Let's see how the March 6th plays out, and we'll go from there.
But she's only been to one meeting, so
Seven.
they're gonna
You gonna leave her there till then? I'd say put Tinker on it.
If I put anybody on there,
They're paying on it, he's the only one that has time in the morning.
It's too early for me,
He's got
sorry.
his, he watches his programs.
Yeah, I've got shows to watch in the morning.
Okay, we'll have the mayor take care of that situation, let's move
What?
on
Well, how are we
to
gonna take
number
care
5.
of it before we get there to vote on it? What's gonna be the take care, Mayor?
He said leave it to the 6th.
I'll make a recommendation that Mr. Duff be reappointed on an
Do
interim
you want
basis.
it or not?
End of the term.
I'll go to it.
Okay, he says he'll do it now.
Mr. Duff, then.
All right.
So we're switching Hurley for that?
All right, we are moving on
They're your best friends.
to number 5,
They
which
will,
is
they will be your
the,
best friend. I guarantee you they will.
I would like to give you an update, guys, listen up. I'd like to give you an update on solid waste.
Is it brief?
I'm gonna try to make it brief.
2 hours.
If you're nice and quiet, it'll be brief.
I'll bet mine's faster than yours. Jimmy Davis still back.
We'll eventually get through this if y'all will listen for just a
Tinker
second.
talking to Harold back here. I can't hear nothing.
You gotta be kidding.
We didn't hear you, they weren't here.
Thank you.
Kelly's first time at bat, swing and miss. That's like herding cats, isn't it?
Oh, guess what? You're about to lose part of your time tonight, okay?
Mine's short.
Yeah.
No, you're about to lose quality time. All right, on our solid waste, we have had several meetings lately. Loudon City wrote a letter saying that they would not be in support of continuing negotiations on the contract until something is done about the road situation.
Good for him.
Yes, it was very good.
We haven't had any complaints.
So if you'll be quiet, I will finish up. If you be quiet for a minute, and I will finish up. All right, on the road situation, at our meeting, we discussed, several things that have been going on. There have been several people with cars that have broken windshields. So we talked with Santec about the situation. It has been part of our negotiations in the new contract about Santec taking care of the road, putting in a wheel wash. Our contract that we have with them now says they are to take reasonable care, Commissioner Salisbury, reasonable care of the road. And reasonable care can be determined in any way. So the other night, we made a gesture to Santec that we took a vote that if they would go ahead and do the wheel wash, go ahead and get started on the wheel wash, look at concreting the road, that the solid waste would pay half of the cost until, so that we can get negotiations back on track. And when the negotiations on the new contract are finalized, then Santec would reimburse solid waste their part of the wheel wash.
How much is the wheel wash?
You don't know that, it's very expensive. It's probably gonna run anywhere, Larry, 350,000.
350 to 400,000.
So what if Santec leaves? Do they take the wheel wash with them?
No.
If, and that's still to be negotiated.
Yes.
The wheel wash, if the solid waste is an investor in it, we gotta do something. But our whole intent with this wheel wash gesture was to do an addendum to the present day contract, to go ahead and get that before we offer the extension portion of the contract, which would be another addendum to it. So they're still under the same contract, just with addendums.
Did y'all really give Greg Harrison Little $5,000?
Yes.
What
No,
about?
we did not. The three entities did. We did not.
The board voted on it, right?
The board had no business voting on it.
But they did, right?
I voted against it.
That's right.
I voted against it. We had no business voting on it whatsoever.
That's Kelly did.
The three entities voted or signed the paperwork wanting to pay Greg Harrison $5,000 for legal services on Poplar's Farm.
Does this contract, if it ever comes
Oh, it's very
to
close.
a head, does county commission have anything to do with that contract? Do we have to okay it, or the way I understand it, we have no say in that, except
Well, you
through your representative of the commission with the group.
Well, technically, according to the interlocal agreement, no. Your representative is me, but that is not the feeling of the board. The feeling of the board is we would like to have each entity's input on the contract.
To
We
vote?
have tried to do that.
To vote?
Well, yes,
Input.
on our input and
You are our input.
yes, I am. And we have tried to get everyone's ideas and things back from each entity. Just like here, the bond was the issue with the county, because the mayor has to sign the bond. We've got that in part of the contract, so that Santec has to put out the bond. So, yes.
Let's just say hypothetically, we vote no, and the other entities vote yes. I mean, it's dead, or like, what does that look like?
Well,
If you want inputs, we're gonna give you our input, but you don't have to listen to it either.
of according to interlocal agreement, then we can make the final decision on that.
I was just curious.
But that is not the feeling that we want to do. We want each entity to be happy with the contract.
I'd be happy not to have to hear about it for the next 20 years. How about that, Harold?
28 years.
28 years.
Well, our whole goal is to make us financially whole at the end for post-closure.
Until
This
we,
contract will do that.
until the next contract is signed, when will the first one expire?
30, 32,
2027.
30.
2027.
Well, that's not far off.
2027 is when the contract is out.
That's when they close it up?
That's when
No,
the contract with Santec is.
it's a renewable contract. The
That's
landfill's
why we're
good
already
for
in
50
there.
or 60 years or something like that.
All right, well,
I'll tell you what, I just ride it out till then and tell them to go,
Like that.
yes.
Well,
Well, is the contract
Don't-
that's present as being
no
worked out,
addendums?
this is a stupid question, but is this contract to begin in 27?
in 2027,
Yeah.
well, we're hoping as soon as we get this contract in place.
So what are you gonna do with the old contract that is still in effect?
Well,
It's-
that's what
it's
we're
just
doing.
an
We're doing
extension of the contract.
extension.
What we have negotiated up to this point has been to extend the contract.
How
To
many
bring
years?
the county, to bring the county and the stakeholders up to, in 2027, we won't be in debt. We'll have money put in place. And I think the extension went to 35, I believe it is,
So you're
35.
talking about the extension from 27 to 35?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. But the way our contract is structured right now, to find it any other way, defined any other way, they got us over a barrel. The county is holding the debt in case we close the landfill down, and with the new extension, we were getting a performance bond, which would take the county completely out of it, as far as financials.
That's what I'm getting at. How are we in it anyway?
Well, that was way before my time. Sorry, I
Right
can't
now,
answer that.
if Santec went belly up right now and ran away, county's on the hook to close that landfill.
And you're talking in a tune of about $5 million.
Under the new extension proposal, we're not gonna do that anymore. Once a year, every year we've had since Santec's been there, the mayor has to sign documents saying, okay, Santec don't have to get a bond, county will be responsible for it. Under the new extension contract, Santec is gonna pick that up, and they have to spend a lot of money on that performance bond, but we're off the hook then.
And to answer your,
With the mayor signing it, you're on the hook.
That's right,
Yes.
100%.
and to address your question, Commissioner Satterfield, if we ride the contract out to the very end in 2027, right now, we don't have the funds to actually close and do post-closure on.
That is definitely true, and also one thing to add to that, based on the present day contract that we've got, we, the commission, will be in violation by not being able to provide a permit on this so that they can fulfill up to 2027. We'll file with TDEC.
So you couldn't let it expire, go with another company besides
see you
Santec?
coming and going on that
They
contract.
got us over the barrel on this.
All right, so.
But we signed that contract.
To sum it up.
The Solid Waste Commission signed that contract.
We're in bad shape.
All
Leo
right.
Bradshaw signed
Do what?
it. Leo Bradshaw signed it.
Yeah, we're in a different generation. That's been a few years ago.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kelly.
all right. If there's not any more questions, we'll move on
Okay.
to 6. Oh,
6 is me, and I'm gonna look at Jimmy
I think it's been reviewed.
Jimmy Davis right there.
Motion that it be.
I have nothing to
We
add.
have a motion on the floor.
We can't take motions tonight. I have nothing to add because I should have had a meeting with Mr. Davis and Mr. Guy between that last time and today to get their input. I've had none, so I have no updates. Hopefully, we'll have some updates at the January workshop.
Thank you, sir.
It looks
You're
like
welcome.
that they're going to raise about $20,000 with this endeavor.
What?
I
Who?
Twenty.
Oh, it was a huge flop this year.
Thank you,
Yeah. They
Commissioner
had half as many
Brewster and
people. Yeah.
No, they made
Commissioner
the- they
Givens
made
for
more
coming
money.
to our meeting.
You doing the books for them too?
I know the people that do.
I'm not opposed to it, I just think we need to have a handle.
We'll see what the audit says.
All right, let's move on to number
Last
7.
year was 50.
Let's go to our famous Director of Accounts and Budgets, Ms. Tracy
Stay with this,
Blair.
I think, this is last year's gonna do it too.
Mr. Shaver,
I've
Ms. Blair has the floor,
done heard it. We had the same thing.
but the rest of us haven't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, on your agenda, you will have a resolution to accept a $5,000 donation to the animal shelter. It's to build a room for the cats. It's called.
Cattery.
I got it.
A cat house. We're building a cat house.
There's a $25,000 grant for technology for the election commission. You have spreadsheets for amendments in 2 different funds. There is no effect on the fund balance. One of them is in general sessions,
Yeah.
reducing part-time staff by 1, increasing full-time staff by 1 in general sessions. There's no effect on fund balance. Also, in the sheriff's department, it's a reclassification of employees. Again, there's no effect on the fund balance, but the number of patrol deputies will be decreased by 1. Patrol corporals will be increased by 1. And in the jail, the number of corrections officers will be decreased by 3. The number of corrections sergeants will be increased by 3. I think that's all. Both of those elected official salary agreements will be amended if commission passes those requests.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Maybe you ought to think about putting Tracy on first.
She won't leave.
But by the time we get to her, some of you have lost your ability to stay focused. Makes it hard.
You spent way too much time in elementary school. I'm gonna tell you your problem.
I just think, it might be.
Some of us already heard this once at 4 o'clock today.
Tracy might want to go first.
But that should not interfere with the rest of us who have not heard this at 4 o'clock.
I think he was talking about you all being the ones who
I
weren't
thought we
focused.
had that once before, not long
You
ago.
did, and years ago, the budget director was put last on this agenda before I was even budget director, just in case the discussions prior to this required some amendment or some adjustment or some addition to the commission's agenda that did not.
You could stay, but you would have
Would
full
I have
attention. Well, that's, we can call you if there was an emergency.
Would you rather go? I mean,
It makes me nervous. I'll do whatever.
Well, that was just a suggestion, I'm not
I
the mayor.
appreciate it, thank you.
I talked to Henry Cullen a few minutes ago.
Well, just a minute, we're still on the agenda here. We have something on, the mayor has one thing he needs
Can you
to
talk about
do.
Henry for that?
I got 2 things, I'll be a brief 40 minutes. You should have in your, I just went over the ADA transition plan. This is a plan assembled by the maintenance team. We're in great shape as far as some other counties are. We do have to have this plan in place in order to receive some of our funding from our grants and such. We discussed the budget, actually there's already a line item there with a few $1,000s in it, so no action needed. And the vendor site we've talked a lot about. We've got 1 bid in so far as demolition and disposal, and a whopping $5,800.
Yeah, I think.
5,800, not 58,000, $5,800, so,
Okay.
and they're not even ready yet. And we're not even close those out, that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Would you like to give us an update?
I talked to Henry a
Commissioner?
little while ago. Saturday night, he got struck by something, something took him down, he moved, he just suddenly fell so ill he couldn't live. The friends over with him took him to the emergency room. They first thought heart, said no, it's gallbladder after the test. But his gallbladder was so bad, and he had so much blockage and stones that they couldn't even take it out. They had to go in and put stents and stuff in his gallbladder, and it's got his liver out of whack. So by in the morning, they're hoping his liver enzymes will be back to normal, and in the morning, then sometime, hopefully, we'll take the infected gallbladder out. But he's pretty.
Which hospital is he
It's a
in?
Nova at Turkey Creek.
And he also told me to tell everyone that surgery is possible. misses everyone and would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Kelly, I think you did a fine job tonight. Thank you very much.
Suck up,
Did
suck up.
everybody get their food?
We did.
Here's somebody right here.
Who made this?
Liz makes it, I just started.
You're the taste tester.
I am too, this is delicious.